Recently, the NBA lost a legend who wasn't just a famous icon within the sport, but he was literally the unofficial logo of the game of basketball, Jerry Allen West. He was 86 years old and has been having a tremendous impact on the league longer than most of us have been alive. As a player, this 6'3" point guard / shooting guard was one of the greatest players of his generation and on both ends of the court. His style of play offensively was so ahead of his time in the 60s and early 70s, as he had a solid handle of the basketball and had a dangerous pull-up jumper that would have translated well to the modern NBA. He was teammates with the great Elgin Baylor in 12 out of his 14 seasons in the league, and as a dynamic duo, they both had unique impacts on their offense. The famous longtime Lakers commentator Chick Hearn referred to Baylor as Mr. Inside, while West was Mr. Outside. Jerry didn't have the luxury of playing in the three-point era since he retired in 1974 and the three-point line wasn't introduced to the league until 1979. One can only imagine how many points per game West would have averaged if many of his perimeter jumpers had counted as 3 points instead. Among players with completed careers, West has the 4th highest scoring average in NBA history at 27. He has the 5th highest playoff scoring average of all time at 29.1, and he has the 5th highest final scoring average of all time at 30.5. Every step as the season progressed, from the regular season to the playoffs to the finals, West became a much better scorer. This big game lethality is why he earned the famous nickname Mr. Clutch. There are many examples of that clutch gene being on display. One of those was in the 1965 NBA playoffs, where West's Lakers made it to the NBA Finals, where they were eventually defeated by the Boston Celtics. In that entire playoff run, West averaged 40.6 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Jerry played in 11 games in those playoffs, and with a minimum of 4 games played, that is the highest scoring average in a single postseason run in NBA history. Another example of his clutch gene was the 1969 NBA Finals, where West had arguably the greatest final series that the league had ever seen. In Game 1, he carried his Lakers to a clutch 2-point victory, where he efficiently dropped 53 points and 10 assists. He ended up scoring 40 points in 4 out of those 7 games. In the 7th and deciding game, he made history, as he dropped 42 points, 13 rebounds, and 12 assists. To this day, West is one of only 3 players to achieve the 40-point triple-double in the NBA Finals, and West is the only player to ever do it in a 7th game. He put up monstrous numbers over the course of that series, but unfortunately, West's Lakers lost in the 7th game by just 2 points. Regardless, his series-long performance was so legendary that he was named the Finals MVP, despite the fact that he played for the losing team. To this day, West is the only player to ever win the Finals MVP while playing for the losing side. Beyond being extremely productive in big games, West was basically automatic in the final few seconds, and his career was filled with game winners and buzzer beaters. None more famous than when he made this 60-foot shot in Game 3 of the 1970 NBA Finals as time expired, and this sent the game to overtime. At this point, you might be thinking that West was basically just a scorer, but you couldn't possibly be more incorrect. He was an elite passer, and especially in the second half of his career, he focused more of his game on his facilitating. In the 1971-72 season, the Lakers had a really talented group, with guys like Wilt Chamberlain, Gail Goodrich, and Jim McMillan as the supporting cast to West. Their brand new head coach was the Hall of Famer Bill Sharman, who actually competed against West in the past as a player for the Boston Celtics. Sharman wanted to run an up-tempo offense, and wanted West to spend more of his energy facilitating. As the floor general, Jerry led the 72 Lakers to a historic run, as he led the entire league in assists per game at 9.7, while also pouring in 26 points and 4 rebounds. West led the Lakers to the greatest winning streak in basketball history, as they won a whopping 33 straight regular season games before finishing the season with a 69-13 record. With Jerry at the helm, the Lakers had a 12-3 record that postseason, as they won the NBA championship and solidified their case for the title of the greatest team in NBA history. With this ring, West had finally broken through and won that elusive championship, after years of falling to Bill Russell and the more talented Boston Celtics. In fact, West had a 1-8 NBA Finals record, which has led many modern fans to question the legitimacy of his Mr. Clutch nickname. But when you understand the context of his era, and the fact that the opposing Celtics were loaded with way more Hall of Famers, while West was still playing incredible in his losing performances, then it starts to make a bit more sense. Easily, the most underrated part of his game, though, was his all-time great defense. Jerry was known by his peers as a smothering defensive player, and was especially skilled at causing turnovers. Simply put, he was one of the greatest pickpockets in the history of the game, and he was one of the greatest shot-blocking guards that the game had ever seen as well. Unfortunately, he simply played in the wrong era for all of his defensive stats and accolades to be tracked. For one, blocks and steals were not officially tracked until the 1973-74 season, which just happened to be West's final year in the NBA at the age of 35. But in that farewell season, he averaged a stunning 2.6 steals and 0.7 blocks, and both of those were good enough to lead the league at his position. If those were the kind of defensive numbers that he was putting up at the age of 35, then I can only imagine how many he was getting during his prime. Beyond that, he made a total of 5 All-Defense teams in his career, but all 5 of those honors came after he entered his 30s, since All-Defense teams did not exist prior to the 1968-69 season. So not only should he be among the all-time leaders in steals, not only should he be among the all-time blocks leaders for guards, but he could possibly have had the most All-Defense team selections for any guard of all time, if the honors had always existed. To put it simply, he was one of the greatest all-around players that the game has ever seen. In total, he earned 14 All-Star selections, 5 All-Defense teams, won the scoring title in 1970, won the assist title in 1972, was the Finals MVP in 1969, and won the NBA championship in 1972. Again, he achieved all of this as a perimeter shooter at a time when the three-point line didn't exist yet. Imagine what his resume would look like if it had. Now here's the craziest part. All of that might have been the less impressive part of Jerry West's basketball career, because soon after his career was done as a player, he moved into head coaching and executive positions. Just 2 seasons after his retirement, he was hired to be the Lakers' head coach, thanks to his good relationship with the team's owner, and thanks to his excellent leadership skills he displayed while playing for the Purple and Gold. After the Lakers had failed to make the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, West stepped in and coached the Lakers to 3 straight playoff appearances, including a trip to the Western Conference Finals in his first year at the helm. Now, after those 3 coaching seasons were done, he moved into a different role that he was more passionate about, which was a lead scout. For 3 years, he evaluated talent and helped the Lakers organization make selections that would build their next dynasty. Eventually, he got promoted and became the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers in 1982. And one of the first major moves he made in that position was drafting big game James Worthy in the 1982 NBA draft. Worthy was the perfect complementary star to Magic Johnson's fast-paced offense. With the team, Worthy would go on to win 3 championships in Los Angeles, including the season where he was the Finals MVP in 1988. After the retirement of Magic Johnson in 1991, the Lakers' future was in question. But West quickly rebuilt the team into a competitive force, and had them in the conference semifinals by 1995. That year, he was honored as the NBA Executive of the Year. But he was just getting started. Under his leadership, the Lakers were ready to take the next step, and in a major way. On July 11, 1996, West made an extremely bold move, as he traded the Lakers starting center Vlade Divac for a 17-year-old fresh out of high school Kobe Bryant. This was an extremely gutsy move at the time, because Kobe was seen as a bit of an unproven wild card, while Vlade was the team's starting center when they went to the 1991 NBA Finals. Although the Lakers traded for Kobe from the Hornets, who took him with the 13th overall pick, West has said that he would have taken Kobe with the first overall pick if he had the choice. Now the Lakers were without a starting center, and West looked to fill that role rather quickly, and he did it in a very explosive fashion. Just 1 week later, West shocked the basketball world by convincing Shaquille O'Neal to leave the Orlando Magic and sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. And just like that, West had built the foundation of a dynasty yet again. Shaq and Kobe would go on to win 3 championships together in 4 finals appearances. And after the Diesel's departure, Kobe would go on to win 2 more additional championships. Obviously, West's impact and influence as a Laker great had been immortalized. When you look at the combination of his playing career, his coaching career, and his executive career, he's probably the favorite for the title of the greatest overall Laker in franchise history. But he wasn't done having an impact on the game of basketball. Seeking more mountains to climb and conquer, West became the general manager of the Memphis Grizzlies between 2002 and 2007. In that time, he built a surprisingly competitive squad that was able to make the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. In fact, they went to the playoffs for 3 straight seasons under West. After a 4-year break, West joined the Golden State Warriors in 2011 as an executive board member and as a minority owner. He helped build the Dubs into yet another dynasty team. One of his more influential decisions came in 2014, when the Warriors were considering trading a young and upcoming Klay Thompson for a prime Kevin Love, who at the time was seen as one of the best bigs in the entire league. Jerry West was extremely opposed to his team trading Klay, and threatened to leave the organization if they made the deal. In light of this, the Warriors decided to keep Klay, and would go on to win 4 NBA championships for the Golden State Warriors. But that wasn't his only major contribution to the Dubs dynasty, as he was a major part of the recruitment pitch to sign Kevin Durant in 2016. After that, West was once again seeking yet another challenge, and decided to join the LA Clippers in 2017 as an executive board member and as a consultant. Although that team never became a dynasty under his watch, he did help them acquire lots of star power that translated into them being Western Conference contenders. In total, he won 1 championship as a player and 8 championships as an executive. But in reality, he contributed to way more titles than just that. Looking at his full resume, we have to ask ourselves, has there ever been one person who's been more influential to shaping the NBA's history than Jerry West? Honestly, it would be hard for me to say yes. Sadly, the NBA lost one of the greatest basketball minds of all time, and although he unofficially became the logo because of his playing career, in reality, he's a symbol of the game of basketball for so many reasons beyond that. West was the embodiment of a competitive spirit. You'll never find anyone more passionate about the game of basketball. Even well into his 80s, he never stopped seeking new challenges. He never stopped finding new ways to win. In a way, he was everything that basketball lovers aspire to be. He was driven, he was relentless, he was passionate, he was team-focused, and above all, he was a winner all the way up to the very end. As a lifelong Lakers fan, and as a basketball fan in general, thank you for everything, Jerry West. So many of our smiles, so many of our victories, and so many of our days rejoicing all go back to you. People may argue about who the logo should be for years to come, but for obvious reasons, you'll always be the logo to me.